End of the world prophecy number 4, the United States housing crisis. 10 reasons you will never own a home. Let me qualify that statement. During the 90s, the average age of a first-time home buyer was 23. Today it is 36. As I've stated before, the millennials had their generational wealth and buying power absolutely destroyed by the boomer bosses, crooked politicians, and greedy corporations. If you do not currently own a home, the threshold for first-time homeownership is way above what the majority of people can afford. Problem number 1. Artificial scarcity. Let's start with the evil banking system that has been engineering housing market crashes for decades now. They withhold their home inventory to artificially drive up prices to maximize their profits until the market becomes unsustainable, then reap the rewards for the devastation they've done to the economy. Then they start the process all over again. I made a more detailed video on the banking scam on another channel. I'll post the link here. Problem number 2. Low number of sellers. Most people locked in a much lower rate or refinanced when interest rates were down at 3%. They're not willing to give that up unless they absolutely have to move. And even then might not be able to afford to move anymore. Problem number 3. The interest rate is at the second highest it's ever been in American history. As of the making of this video, the interest rate is 8.42% for the average 30-year fixed mortgage loan. That's almost triple what it was less than 2 years ago. Problem number 4. Artificially inflated home prices. Since 2019, the average cost of a house has almost tripled. Problem number 5. Greedy sellers. Though they know their home is not really valued that high, they refuse to lower the asking price. So now those houses sit on the market for months because no one can afford to buy them. Problem number 6. Competition. Especially as a first-time home buyer, more than likely you're going to get outbid. And though it's not as big of a problem as people make it out to be, in some markets there's a chance a scumbag real estate investor, whether a wealthy individual or those devil cunts at BlackRock or some other hedge fund investment firm, will sweep in and make an all-cash offer and outbid you. When Zillow was trying to play that game, they were overpaying by tens of thousands of dollars. The average homebuyer can't compete. Problem number 7. Closing costs. Your broke ass can't afford them. I was lucky when I moved and got my house in January of 2021. It cost me $260,000. That was up from $135,000 in 2019. And now it's valued at $355,000. My closing costs in 2021 were $15,000. I can't even imagine what they would be now with the higher price and higher interest rate. Problem number 8. Less than perfect credit? Get the fuck out of here. Can you hear them laughing at you? I can. Problem number 9. Economic chaos. Banks are going to be tightening up their portfolios and getting rid of a lot of commercial real estate rather than pay the higher interest rates. Their profits are down as corporations and large retailers are closing locations and just walking away from their leased properties and defaulting on their loans. Goldman Sachs just announced that they will be firing a lot of people over the next 2 years as they course correct. Realtors are quitting because they have no clients. A lot of the other people at banks and mortgage lenders are being laid off because there's no mortgages to process. And credit card companies are lowering people's borrowing limits. As a result of all this, firms are also reluctant to lend and are making loans harder to get right now. Problem number 10. The Federal Reserve, who caused this whole mess in the first place. Remember Trump's tax cuts for corporations? Remember the $600 stimulus check you got while corporations got trillions of dollars in bailout money, but instead of using it to help their workers or their business, they did stock buybacks and paid millions of dollars to their executives. That all caused an even greater amount of money to flow to the top, instead of circulating like it should in a healthy economy. And President Alzheimer's Joe refused to do anything. So the Federal Reserve is trying to apply their 1980 failed economic policy to the year 2023, and on top of a country that has added 100 million people since then. They have even said that the American people still have money in their savings and are working and spending, so they will keep the interest rate high. Basically, they're trying to take the last of our money to cover the trillions they gave the corporations and the gap that left in the economy, which was our tax money in the first place. We are paying twice for the government's corporate welfare program. So the Federal Reserve won't start to lower interests for probably another year. And statistically, once that begins, if it begins, it usually takes about 11 months for interest rate changes to start affecting the markets. And they say their goal is to get it back down to 3%. But they will probably not lower it as quickly as they raised it. So it will be at least 5 to 10 years before interest rates become reasonable again, but that doesn't mean home prices will drop back down to their 2019 prices. And that is why I say that you will never own a home. And it is all part of their plan. Now, I don't want to leave you with no hope. One option is to buy a home with a trusted friend or two. You do not have to be related or in an intimate relationship to buy a house with another person or persons. Parents can co-sign on a home loan. Basically, you make the payments, they get the yearly tax write-off, and if you default, then they're responsible for the payments. Another option that I am still working on is the cult compound. Find you some local cultists and buy some property. Another aspect of my plan, churches can be in commercial or residential areas. And the law here in Arizona states that up to 10 church members can live on the property. So in exchange for free housing at the church, all I will ask in return is that people volunteer to work a couple shifts a week, because we'll have something set up to generate income and I'll need people to help with that. If that works, I can replicate it at other locations. I will totally hook up our loyal cult members. And one final solution that we will probably use in the beginning at least, if you can find some land or you have friends or family that will let you park at their property, there is only one company in the entire country that sells affordable tiny homes. Once the First United Church of Cthulhu is ready to start receiving guests, I plan to get one of these for people to stay in for spiritual retreats. In other words, you can pay to stay overnight and party at the church. We can hang out, praise Cthulhu. I can provide any spiritual guidance if you desire. You know, unholy enlightenment and shit. But the tiny home company's name is Incredible Tiny Homes. They're based out of Tennessee, and they will deliver to any of the 48 continental states. The video link at the end will go to their YouTube channel. So if the kids decide they want to burn it all down, I can't blame them. But in the meantime, be sure to subscribe for more doomsday prophecies and other horror, occult, and Lovecraft madness. Until next time, Cthulhu Fatagen.